Hello everyone, thank you for joining us today. I'm Miss Janelle. We are going to have upcoming webinar for almost every week. Stay tuned to our PSLE Facebook web to actually get notified when is our next webinar that we will be sharing about what are the tips and strategy that your child from upper primary may want to have before they actually step into the next year so that they have a smoother transition and also to aid them the next year to actually do better than their peers and be ahead of their peers. So in our webinar, we'll be covering some questions and some of the tips that you might want to know in order to help you learn how to identify the different questions type and also to dissect the questions and break it down into parts by parts in order for them to be able to solve the higher order heuristic kind of like PSLE questions. So we're going to go into one of the questions and then we'll see how to actually solve question like this. This is just a preview of what we will be going through in our webinar weekly, and hopefully this will be useful. And if you actually like what we are actually doing and what we are sharing here, stay tuned to us on our Facebook, YouTube, and also if your child still unable to get all these kind of questions, please join us for our training and our booster class and also our small focus group that will help them to do better and to be able to cope with their paper 2. We will also touch on paper 1 because I received some of the PMs and also private message that like, oh, does it mean that I will be only doing paper 2 in all my classes? No, I will definitely touch on paper 1, but then I will focus more on paper 2, especially for those that is going to step into P6 next year. So because normally the results for P5 and P6, 55% of the whole paper will be problem sums. That's why I focus more on that. And I know that most parents, they are more concerned about problem sums as it is the part that most students struggle the most. So we have this question here. So this question is one of our past year PSLE question. So let's start. At the florist, there was a total of 3616 of hibiscus, sunflowers, and carnations. The ratio of the number of hibiscus to the number of sunflowers was 3:5. After 40% of the hibiscus and 1/5 of the sunflower and 25% of the carnations were sold, there were 2,644 flowers left in the end. How many orchids were there in the florist at first? So my suggestion for all students is first, read carefully sentence by sentence, because sometimes when there's too much information or when they see that it's a very long question, some students will just get terrified and they suddenly do not know how to start the question, or they give up on the question, or they study it the wrong way and they have to redo the whole question. And all those are not the things that we want to see, especially during the exam when time is really precious. So what I would suggest is to highlight the key things that we have here. So per sentence, will be given some information. So my first information in my first sentence is we have the total of all the 3 flowers. And then moving on, my second sentence, I actually see that the ratio, I was given the hibiscus and sunflower ratio, which is 3:5. Then after 40% of the hibiscus and 1/5 of the sunflower and 25% of the carnation was sold. So when we see this kind of question, right, now what I can see is I can go to my second step already, which is to think of what method to use. Because I can see that there's a before, which is the total, and then I have the before of the individual for hibiscus and sunflower, looking at the purple highlighted one. And then the red part here that I just read, I actually get this, which is the sold, which means it's the change. So means this is the kind of question whereby you have the before and then the change and then after. So for this kind of question, if it's fraction, ratio, or in percentage, my suggestion is always to use ratio to solve this kind of question because it's easier, because some students actually prefer to actually do model. But for questions as such, if you do model, it might be very complicated and you need to draw more than one set of model. Yeah, which is going to be time consuming and might be confusing for some students as well. So I'm going to start with at first. So we have sunflower, hibiscus, sunflower, and carnation. What I have here is that the hibiscus is 3, sunflower is 5. That's for at first. But then I do not know what is the carnation. So this is my at first. So what I need next is that I'll have a change. And I will have to go to in the end. So let's look at this. Our change here is that we realize that 40% is the change, which means I'm going to use fraction so that it's maybe easier for me to see. So there will be a minus of 2/5 because 40%, if I reduce down, is 2/5. And then here will be a minus of 1/5 as well. And I know that this will be a 1/4 reduced for the carnation. And they didn't tell me what is the ratio in the end. So means I need to derive from what we actually have here. I need to try to derive using this. So the first thing that I realize here is I want to find 2/5 of 3 units, which is for hibiscus, but I realize I'll have decimal, which we don't want to complicate the situation. I do not want to work with like units with decimals or fractions. So my suggestion to all my students is what we need to do now is we change this number into something that can be divisible by 5. So meaning I will be multiplying 5 here and I will be multiplying 5 here, and here what I will get is I will get 15 and here I will get 25. With this, I think we can actually conclude how much was the change. So my change here is equals to a minus 6 units. Am I correct? So after I get my minus 6 units here I will actually be able to get that it's a minus 5 units here. So in the end, what I will get here is 9 units for hibiscus, and also I will get 20 units for my sunflower. And then since I do not know what is this part, which is the part that we do not have here for our carnation, so I realized that I will need to form something here, and this will be a 3 because minus 4 minus 4 whole minus 1/4 is actually equals to 3, because I should have 4/4 at first, and the change is 1/4 being sold off. So I do not know what is this, and I don't think the unit will be the same for the carnation as the other two, like the hibiscus and sunflower. So means I will use this as part. So you realize this is a part and unit questions. For those that is actually in P5, haven't learned part and unit, haven't learned algebra, I'll suggest that this is one of the kind of questions that you must get used to, or you must know how to solve algebra, or at least do not run away from this kind of question when you see it and refuse to learn, because you definitely have an algebra question that is in 5 marks or 4 marks in your PSLE. If you are aiming to score AL1 or AL2, at least please learn and try to absorb as much as possible. So we will be going through more and more of this kind of question during our sessions as well. So fret not, if your child actually have problem after learning from this one video, please join us for a webinar, and please join us for our focus group class that will actually enhance on this kind of higher order questions that ensure your child to have a higher chance to be able to get at least an AL3 and above for their mathematics. So for here, what we can see is we have the end is 2,644 flower left. So meaning I will be able to form 2 equations already. Equation 1 will be the one that I will be highlighting in yellow color now, which is I have this, which is my at first equation, which means I will have 15 units because we just now multiply 5 to both the number in black. So we must remember that we must use the one that we actually changed into already, because yeah, we cannot be using the old one. And then plus 4p because the carnation at first is 4p, and the initial number of flowers was equals to 3,616. So that's our first equation. And my second equation here, I will have the next highlighted in yellow one, which is this part. We actually get that this is equals to 2644 flower left. So I will be forming my second equation using that, which means I will get like 9 unit plus 20 unit, and then I will plus 3 part as well, and this is equals to 2644. So with this, we actually get two equations. With the two equations here, what we need to do is we simplify it, and then after that we need to try to solve it. So it's time for us to pull out our calculator, because this kind of question will definitely be a problem sum question. So here, let's go on to simplify it. We should get 40 units plus 4 part equals to 3616. So our number is actually quite huge here. That's for my equation 1. And then the next one that I'll be looking at is I'll have 29u plus 3 part equals to 2644. So this is my equation 2. So with these two equations, my next step is that I will read on to the question and see what the question actually wants. The final sentence tell us, say that how many orchids were there in the forest at first. Orchid, if I look back to, okay, I think it's a typo in the question, so maybe it's not awkward. So let's take it as the question is finding the hibiscus, like how many hibiscus are there at first. So if you're finding hibiscus at first, let me do a slight change here, because it was a copy and paste from the exam paper. So let's say we are finding hibiscus in this question. So if we are finding hibiscus, then what we should be looking at is, we'll be looking at this part here. Okay, at first, we'll be looking at this number, which is 15. So I will want to aim to find units in this case. So if I want to find units, right, means I will be making this one the same. I want to make these two the same in order for me to do a comparison. For us to make it the same, for my first one, I have to multiply 3 throughout the whole equation. And then the on top one is multiply 3 throughout the equation. My bottom one, I will have to multiply 4 throughout the whole equation. Then my new equation would then be 120 units for the on top one. And then I have 12p, and then I will have big number 3616 times 3. What I should have here is 10848. And that is for my equation that I'll be using. And then the next one, I multiply by 4 by 29 times 4. What I should be getting is 116 unit. And then I will plus 12 part here. And then here will be 2644 multiplied by 4. What I have here is 10576. So using these two, right, I'm going to label them as equation 4 and equation 3. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to take equation 3 minus away equation 4, because we need to take the bigger one minus away the smaller one, so that our number will be nicer. Because as what we say just now, what we are aiming to find is, we want to make sure that we can find the units, because we are aiming to find the hibiscus here, which is in units. So what we have here is, if we take 120 units minus 116 units, what I will have is that I will have 4 units here. So for students that might not be following that well, because I know this kind of question is kind of a bit confusing for some students. So I'm taking 120 units minus 116 units from equation 3 minus equation 4, and then 12 part minus away 12 part. There's no more 12 parts. There's no more parts. So basically, that's our aim for changing them to the same. In order to eliminate them, we change them to the same to get rid of them. So the other side will be 10848 minus away 10576. So after I do this part here, I will actually get 4 units, because my 120 minus 116 will give me 4 units. And on the other side, I will have 10848 multiply and minus away 10576. So what I get is 272, and then my 1 unit is actually equals to 68. So I get 68, which is equals to my 1 unit. So since the question is asking for hibiscus, so we are very close to an answer already. For students, I always say that after you find 1 unit, if you are lost because after so many steps suddenly you forget what you're doing, read back to the question, the last sentence, stay focused to know which part you are aiming to actually find in the question. So they're asking hibiscus. I'll go back to hibiscus and again and look at it. And I realized I need to find 15 units. So for me to find 15 units, I just have to take my 68, multiply by 15, and then straight away I will get my answer, which is in this case, I get 1020, and then that's my answer. So I hope everyone is following for this question, and please stay tuned and please join us for this upcoming webinar that we have, which is on tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. We will be sharing more about questions like this, and we'll also be sharing about how to actually strategize for paper 2 for most of the students, and what are the tips that students can actually do better for their upper primary. And also stay tuned to us as well, because we are rolling out for the secondary school programs as well for mathematics, and hope you all enjoy and happy learning with us. Stay tuned and happy learning. Thank you.